Tonight's big stories. It's mission accomplished for the Atin Ito coalition, who says they've completed their second civilian trip to the vicinity of Scarborough Shoal, even in the face of constant shadowing from China.
President Marcos calls for an investigation into the background of Banban Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo. He says none of the politicians he knows in Tarlac even knows who she is.
And PhilHealth comes under fire again after lawmakers found it was sitting on more than 400 billion pesos in reserve funds, and yet members' benefits have not gone up in proportion.
Good evening, welcome to the show. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Riza Diaz.
And I'm Sean Yao.
Mission accomplished. That's how the Atin Ito coalition described their second civilian convoy to Scarborough Shoal, or Bajo de Masinloc, which they completed today.
Yesterday, the group successfully sailed within the exclusive economic zone, placed symbolic buoys, and delivering much-needed food and fuel supplies to Filipino fishermen in the area.
Today, however, the main convoy decided to not push on to Scarborough Shoal, cutting their mission just about 54 to 58 nautical miles from the shoal. The main group received word that the advance and smaller team had broken through China's blockade and was already able to deliver crucial provisions, including fuel and food, to Filipino fishers working in the area.
Good news! Atin Ito's advanced supply team was able to breach China's massive and illegal blockade in the vicinity of Bajo de Masinloc. Our advanced team, composed of 10 brave individuals coming from Akbayan, PRRM, and PKSK, Atin Ito volunteers, were able to reach 25 to 30 nautical miles from Bajo de Masinloc. Their mission did not go unchallenged. They were shadowed by a Chinese naval ship with a body number 175, but despite that, they were able to provide a total of 1,000 liters of fuel and 200 food packs to the fisherfolk communities there. So for this mission, we can say mission success. West Philippine Sea.
Well, there you have it. That was Rafaela David of Akbayan. Of course, she is one of the heads of Atin Ito coalition. Again, just to repeat that the mission was not about challenging China, but rather delivering provisions to the area. So actually breaching the shoal and going inside Bajo de Masinloc was never in the equation.
Yeah, because if they had wanted to challenge, they would have pushed their way through. Because remember, again, Scarborough is controlled by China at the moment. It has been under their control since 2012.
Right, and unlike the December Christmas convoy, as Gretchen was telling us last night, that mission was cut short. Medyo iba yung dynamics. They were on a bigger boat with a civilian captain who decided for the safety of everyone on board to just turn back. But this time around, they were on yung mga cutting boats, and so they were able to press forward with the more experienced fishermen who were used to the area, according to Gretchen.
You think the numbers mattered, that there were more that participated in this mission?
Yeah, you're right, because this time around we are reporting about 255, composed of observers, journalists, fisherfolk,
observers,
the organizers,
of course. And so this time around it's 5 rather bigger boats, but not too big, and 100 small fishing boats.
They call them Pangulong.
Pangulong.
That's
are
right.
the leader
Pangulong,
boats.
yes.
Also today, former U.S. Air Force official Ray Powell, who also monitors the South China Sea via satellite, says that he did track 43 Chinese vessels, including a warship, moving to block the convoy. So maybe it's part of the reason why they just didn't push through.
Well, thankfully, there were no untoward incidents throughout this 3-day voyage. Still, China was watching them every step of the way. Elaine Fulgencio with the report.
China Coast Guard vessels were persistent and shadowing the Atin Ito civilian convoy to Scarborough Shoal. Their massive ships tailed and seemed to press closer to the modest fishing boats that were carrying volunteers, observers, and members of the media. The CCG vessels have been trailing the convoy since yesterday. At one point, the CCG vessel with bow number 4109 inched closer to the Philippine Coast Guard vessel PFP President Gov, with a distance of just 1.5 nautical miles or about 3 kilometers between them. At that time, the convoy was barely halfway through the trip. More China Coast Guard vessels soon came to trail the mission. They also conducted dangerous maneuvers and traded radio challenges with the PCG.
Philippine Coast Guard, PRP Pagasa, MRRB 4410. We are proceeding to our planned route. Request to stay clear from our passage in accordance with the pollution regulations. Over.
China's surveillance at sea continued until this morning. That's when the Chinese Navy ship with bow number 668 was seen. The PCG said it came from the northeast of Scarborough Shoal. The Chinese Navy vessel did not come any closer but continued to watch and patrol from afar. China, meanwhile, continues to assert its rights on Scarborough, saying it allows Filipino fishing within its waters out of goodwill. The China Foreign Ministry adds that if the Philippines abuses China's goodwill and infringes on its territorial sovereignty and jurisdiction, Beijing will defend its rights and take countermeasures in accordance with the law. Despite the challenges out at sea, the second civilian convoy has been considered a success, with food packs and fuel provisions delivered to Filipino fishermen in the area. The main convoy is expected to be back in Subic Port tonight. Reporting for News 5, Elaine Fulgencio, we are One News.
Still on the West Philippine Sea, the military barracks on Pagasa Island was inaugurated by Defense Secretary Guo Teodoro and several senators amid the increasing number of Chinese ships surrounding the island. This time, Camille Simonta has the rest of that story.
Defense Secretary Guo Teodoro, together with Senate President Mig Zubiri, Senators Joel Villanueva and J.V. Ejercito visited Pagasa Island in the West Philippine Sea today. The purpose of their visit was for the groundbreaking ceremony of the Bland Barracks of the Philippine Navy. However, before they reached the island, their aircraft reportedly received radio warnings from China and were allegedly attempted to be driven away.
Yung paglanding nga namin kanina, meron ng mga verbal challenges. And it's so sad na nandito tayo sa loob ng ating bansa, teritoryo ng Pilipinas ito. Tapos sinasabihan ka, umalis ka dito kasi ito ay teritoryo ng China. Talaga nakakagulat, no? Nakaka-alarma at nakakagalit.
At gusto ko lang pong sabihin kung nakikinig po sila, ito po ang teritoryo ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Hindi po inyo ito. Ito po ay teritoryo ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Bago pa dumating ang si Magellan, atin na po ito. Kaya kung pwede, lumayas na kayo.
While in the air, the senators also spotted several artificial islands. The officials were alarmed because these islands are too close to Palawan and clearly encroach upon the country's exclusive economic zone.
At napakalapit na pala ng Subi Reef na inoccupy na nila at nilagyan po nila ng naval facilities and pangdigmaan, no? Facilities na pangdigmaan. So nakaka-alarma. Yung paglanding nga namin kanina, meron ng mga verbal challenges.
Because of what they saw, the senators promised to allocate more funds for the construction of facilities on Pagasa Island. First is the barracks, which will serve as sleeping quarters for the soldiers of the Philippine Navy who are guarding the island. This is important for the defense posture of the Philippines, especially as the number of Chinese ships circling around Pagasa Island continues to increase. According to Secretary Teodoro, they regularly monitor more than 20 Chinese militia vessels and several China Coast Guard vessels near Pagasa. He mentioned that these ships are not doing anything unusual, but they are concerned because these are also close to sand decay, the sandbars that showed signs of coral reclamation. Even the residents of the island admit to being worried about their security. However, Defense Department has assured the people of Pagasa that they are safe. They have also promised to build additional facilities such as a rural health center so that island residents won't have to go to Palawan for medical treatment.
Sa tingin ko po safe sila because no right-thinking nation will attack civilians. Kailangan po natin ng civilian dito because this is for them. This is not just purely for military purposes. Ang beneficiary nito ay civilians.
For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
Now, President Marcos has ordered an investigation into the background of controversial Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo. He says none of the politicians that he knows over in Tarlac even knows who she is. JC Cosico with that report.
Even President Bongbong Marcos admitted that he finds questionable the origins of Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo. In an ambush interview during his visit to Cagayan de Oro, Marcos says he knows many politicians in Tarlac, but none of them knows who Guo is.
At saka paano siya tumakbo ng mayor. Nagtataka kami kung saan nanggaling ito, bakit ganito ito, hindi namin malaman. Kaya kailangan talagang imbestigahan.
In a text message to News 5, Solicitor General Reynaldo says they are now looking into Guo's citizenship as well as her eligibility to run for and hold public office. Guevara says if they find her ineligible or unqualified, she will have to forfeit her position or get kicked out of office. The controversy sparked after the Senate started a probe into the raid of a POGO hub in Bamban back in March. In the hearing, Senator Risa Ontiveros flagged what she described as the mayor's dubious background. While the country continues to deal with illegal POGOs, President Marcos says the government will strictly enforce rules for the entry of foreign nationals into the country. The Foreign Affairs Department earlier said it plans to tighten its visa requirements for Chinese nationals, citing a rise in illegal activities involving them in the Philippines.
Walang special na rules para sa kahit na kanino. Pantay-pantay lang lahat. Pero gagandahan namin ang enforcement doon sa examination, doon sa mga nag-a-apply ng visa o doon sa mga nagko-convert doon sa tourist visa ng student visa at yung mga bumibili ng lupa dahil nagtatanggap sila na Pilipino sila.
Marcos adds foreign nationals pretending to be Filipinos will be held accountable.
Una-una, hindi marunong mag-Tagalog, hindi marunong mag-Bisaya, hindi marunong magsalita ng Pilipino. At saka walang maipakita ng mga birth certificate, yung mga pinapakita ay fake. So, titiyakin namin na hindi na matatapos yun.
For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
Up next, lawmakers cracked the whip on PhilHealth, which they say has earned more than 170 billion in premiums but has failed to expand its members' benefits. We'll speak to PhilHealth spokesman Ray Balenya about this when we return. You're watching the big story here on One News.
House lawmakers grilled PhilHealth officials over its billions of pesos in unused funds. Congresswoman Stella Quimbo even proposed a suspension of PhilHealth premiums. Marian Enriquez has the details.
PhilHealth is just sitting on piles of money. That's what lawmakers from the House Committee on Health found during a hearing on May 15. Unutilized funds reached as much as 173.4 billion pesos, and that's just from one source, contributions from PhilHealth members. Apart from that, PhilHealth also has more than 38 billion pesos from government subsidies, and in total, over 463 billion pesos in reserve funds. Lawmakers were aggrieved and questioned why the funds were not being used to help Filipinos. Marikina Representative Stella Kimbo, who is also an economist, hit the state insurer for not increasing members' benefits.
Mabibilaukan po kami dito. Katulad po ng PhilHealth, kayo PhilHealth clearly nabibilaukan po kayo sa dami po ng pera na pumapasok sa inyo. Kami rin po dito nabibilaukan po. Ang taas ng sinisingil ninyo. Pero bakit ang konti ng isinusuka ninyo sa tao, di ba?
To which PhilHealth replied,
"We have increased our benefit packages starting last year, and even recently, Mr. Chairperson, we have increased the case rates on bronchial asthma and neonatal sepsis. There are also still packages that will be increased this year, Mr. Chairperson, as well as increase in the benefits covering and covered by the Consulta program, Mr. Chair."
Kimbo also questioned PhilHealth's high premium rate. She believes the state health insurer should bring down its contribution rate or even suspend collection to relieve workers of this burden, considering the high prices of food right now.
Bakit hindi tayo mag-suspend ng ng payments? Okay? Kaya nga, meron akong resolution. Suspend premium payments. That's a big possibility. Correct? Hirap ang taong bayan. Suspend premium payments. At matagal ko na sinasabi po ito sa inyo, lagi po ninyong tinututulan.
The problem is PhilHealth premium increases are already legislated. Under the Universal Healthcare Act, contributions were supposed to increase by 0.5% every year, beginning in 2021 until it reaches 5% from 2024 to 2025. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
Let's dive into this issue and try to make sense of it. We have with us on the line Ray Balenya. He's acting Vice President of PhilHealth's Corporate Affairs Group. Good evening, Ray. Thanks for being with us.
Good evening, Ma'am Riza, Ma'am Regina, and Ma'am Sean. Thank you for having us in your program.
Right. There is a lot to talk about, Mr. Balenya. First off, I want you to react to what Congressman Kimbo was talking about. Just to recap, she says PhilHealth's out-of-pocket spending is at around 50%, average of 50%. That is the lowest in Southeast Asia. She says that is proof that PhilHealth is overcharging its members, especially considering that you are looking at 173 billion pesos just in premiums alone this year, not counting the 80 billion in government subsidies, not counting the 20 billion in benefits expansion. Your reaction, please.
Yes, we duly acknowledge that comment from beloved Congresswoman Kimbo, but we would like to inform the general public and our members that in due time, PhilHealth will be able to spend most of its funds because, as pointed out by our Chief Operating Officer, Attorney Eli Santos, during the hearing yesterday, PhilHealth since last year has been enhancing and increasing our existing benefit packages and introducing new ones. And in due time, this enhanced benefits will translate to a lower out-of-pocket for the patient. And this will translate also to bigger benefit payouts. And therefore, increasing our share of payments to the hospitals.
Right, but Mr. Balenya, when is this due to happen? We have already had media reports of Emmanuel Ledesma, the head of PhilHealth, saying that, like what you said, in due time, the benefit packages will increase. Now, we just want to get a more concrete timeline. Do you have a timeline within PhilHealth on when you can release these bigger benefit packages?
Well, last year, we expanded our dialysis sessions from the 90 sessions per year. We increased that to 156 sessions in a year. And that translates to a maximum of 405,000 budget for every CKD5 patient. And so with our intensive information dissemination, more and more Filipinos with suffering from chronic kidney disease stage 5 will be encouraged to avail of hemodialysis because PhilHealth will be on their side paying for their dialysis sessions. And we are talking here of dialysis only. So last year, we have increased our coverage for high-risk pneumonia. It almost tripled from 32,000 to 90,100. Again, if patients will be encouraged to utilize to seek treatment, PhilHealth will be able to cover substantially their claim. And we are talking here of only a few benefit packages. And I think it will not be long. It will not take long before we can see these funds going out to PhilHealth and going to the hospitals.
You think this year? What does won't take long mean? Do you think it's possible to see it this year?
That's highly possible. We are now talking here, and given the many listeners of your program, many Filipinos will be encouraged to seek treatment. So if they get admitted, for example, tomorrow, after 60 days, the hospital will be filing the claim with PhilHealth, and within another 60 days, we will be paying their claims. So, if everyone will be encouraged to seek treatment and avail of PhilHealth benefits, then I think in a few months' time, this will slowly translate to benefit payouts.
Okay. Ray, just a quick follow-up to that. When PhilHealth head Ledesma said that he would, that soon we will be seeing a bigger benefit package, he also said that you were studying suspending the contributions of minimum wage workers. This is separate from what Congresswoman Kimbo was proposing. This one came from PhilHealth itself to study whether or not to suspend, at least for minimum wage earners, their contributions. What happened to that? Is there an update?
Well, our commitment, ma'am, is to cooperate with Congresswoman Kimbo so as to arrive at the best solution for this. The predicament on the side of PhilHealth, ma'am, is that we are bound to implement what was written and what was provided in the law. So even if there are moves in Congress, for example, the proposals of Congresswoman Kimbo, our hands are tied. It is not within PhilHealth's authority to suspend the collection of what was legislated in the law. So that's our handicap. And what we can really offer is to cooperate and give support to any proposal that will redound to the benefit of the people. We are always there to support. And if Congress sees it fit to amend the law and revise the contribution rate, then so be it. PhilHealth will be implementing whatever there is in the law.
Okay. And
I understand that increases are mandated by law under the Universal Health Care Act, but
Correct.
I'm just
Yes,
struggling to
that's correct.
understand why you can't voluntarily defer the increases, especially at a time like this when inflation is high, and especially if you're sitting on a very healthy cash pile there and unable to at the same time disburse benefits fast enough. So surely if you came forward and proposed to voluntarily defer the premium increase, I'm sure the lawmakers would be amenable to that, wouldn't they?
Yes, I fully agree. We fully acknowledge that up until now, many of our kababayans are still reeling from the effects of the pandemic. All of us are still reeling from the effects of the pandemic. But however, it is also in the best interest of our kababayans that their funds remain strong and their funds will be used for their benefit. So the reforms that are being implemented by the current leadership of PhilHealth with Mr. Emmanuel R. Ledesma Jr. at the helm, our kababayans can look forward to better benefits, to lower out-of-pocket. We are also pushing for the strengthening of our primary care delivery primary care benefit package through our consulta. PhilHealth is investing heavily also in on primary care. All of these efforts now will redound to the benefit of the patients. So that is our appeal to everyone to support the program. And our handicap really is that it was legislated, and we are bound to implement the law.
You know, Mr. Balenya, nearly every day I see people online crowdfunding for their loved ones' medical expenses. I don't know if you see that as well, because PhilHealth technically only covers a fraction of their expenses. If you take a serious illness like cancer, for instance, costs for that go up to almost 1 million sometimes, right? And again, the PhilHealth part is only just a drop in the bucket. So I'm wondering, what else are you guys doing? I mean, you keep saying that you're handicapped by law, but surely there are better ways around this.
Yeah, I do. I do observe that the same observation with you, ma'am. And we are doing our best to enhance and increase our benefits, and one at a time. You must have heard of our D benefit package for breast cancer.
Yes.
It used to be 100,000. Now the PhilHealth Board approved a 1,400% increase. So now we are covering the cost, the expenses of breast cancer treatment up to 1.4 million. And in the pipeline, we are also enhancing our D benefit package for prostate cancer and cervical cancer. And more are in the pipeline this year. We are to enhance our coverage for kidney transplantation. The current coverage is at 550,000. So a lot of things are being pushed at PhilHealth, and in due time, umasa po tayo that all these reforms, all these enhancements will be felt by our kababayans. We appreciate the observation, and we are also taking note of this and making this as input to the reforms that we are pushing in terms of benefit enhancement.
Right, because time is of the essence, Mr. Balenya, and a lot is or can be done by your office to be able to help our kababayans, be able to utilize that fund is going to help them a lot. Well, thank you very much for joining.
Let me just jump in. One last question. In February, I remember we spoke to the Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines President Dr. Jose Rene de Grano. He says PhilHealth still owed them, the members, about 7 to 10 billion pesos. I'm wondering if you could give an update on that. Is that figure still accurate? And again, if you're sitting on a lot of money, why can't we settle this?
Well, it is no longer accurate. We are working closely with the hospital organizations in the private sector, with the PHA, and our payments now are updated, except for the claims that are previously claimed by the hospitals as their receivables. But when we had our reconciliation meetings, we were able to show to the hospitals that a lot of what they consider as their receivables should no longer be taken as their receivables, because these claims have been returned due to deficiencies and defects that they have to comply with PhilHealth, and many of these claims have already been denied. So reconciliation is really key, and this is our direction to closely collaborate and meet with all the hospitals down the line, so as to for us to point out to the hospitals that yung utang ng PhilHealth is not really that big.
Okay, so
and,
Mr. Balenya, what is the amount as of tonight? What is the amount? You said
I do not have the figures. I do not have the figures right now. I'm so sorry. But we have been updated in the payment of claims, and our turnaround time for the payment of claims is on national average is already 32, 33 days. So it's very fast. It's faster than the 60 days prescribed period as mandated in the law.
Okay, one last question. What other amendments? We understand that the Universal Healthcare Law is undergoing amendments or debates for its amendment. What other amendments are you guys working on that we could see materialize?
Well, topping the list is really on the issue of contribution rate. So, of course, we cannot voluntarily suspend, but we know fully well the predicament of our kababayans. That's why topping the list is also what would Congress, what would be the wisdom of Congress on how we should go about the contribution rates of our members. So as I said, we are here to support whatever efforts in Congress, everything, anything that will benefit our members.
Right. We do believe that there is much more you can do. I mean, not you per se, but PhilHealth, of course, especially given that it's been revealed that it has more than $400 billion in reserves, right? We are counting on you for an update, especially on the bit about the private hospitals, what you owe the private hospitals. I hope that can get settled soon. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Ray Balenya, Acting Vice President of the PhilHealth Corporate Affairs Group.
Meanwhile, the crackdown on unconsolidated PUVs began today. Let's check in on how things are going. We have News 5 reporter Gerard de la Peña. Gerard, go ahead.
Riza, we've gotten reports that the start of the crackdown on unconsolidated PUVs was not really felt today. We've also talked to some enforcers on the ground, and they said that they have yet to receive the directive from the LTFRB as to how the apprehensions will be carried out. In Pasig, which is considered a hot spot for unconsolidated PUV operators, no apprehensions were reported, although some unconsolidated drivers chose to just forgo trips today, affecting many passengers.
Kano rin po ang tricycle? 80 pesos po papunta dun sa San Joaquin. Kaya po, mabigat sa bulsa. Pag ganito nagtatatlong sakay.
Sa gabal sa una-una, sa oras. Gahabol kami na oras, tapos pamasahe. Pwede magdoble kasi pamasahe namin pagka dito kami sasakay.
Wala silang abiso na walang biyahe.
There were also no apprehensions in Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City, which is another hotspot. Traffic enforcers said they are still awaiting guidelines on apprehending colorum PUVs. The LTFRB earlier said that it was not expecting much when it comes to apprehensions.
We're monitoring on areas kung saan po maraming hindi nag-consolidate or kung saan din po maraming mga colorum. And then we will initially start. It would only be a few vehicles, ma'am, because what we would like to do now is just to send a message to them na pag hindi ka consolidated at colorum ka na, I think you should stay away from the street.
Riza, we're still awaiting details from the LTFRB as to how and when the apprehensions will begin. But for some PUV stakeholders, it's another day of reprieve from their units being impounded, their licenses being suspended, and for them paying 50,000 pesos in fines. Riza.
Thanks for that update, Gerard de la Peña.
We're going to be pausing for a quick break. Right after that, we will be speaking with Partido Federal ng Pilipinas President and South Cotabato Governor Reynaldo Jr. about how they're getting ready for next year's midterm elections. Don't miss that.
Welcome back. You're still watching Big Story here in One News. Now, amid the ongoing Senate investigation on the Pindea leaks, former Senator Panfilo Lacson called former agent Jonathan Morales, quote, the most unreliable source. Lacson said this on our sister show StoryCon earlier this afternoon.
May character na si Morales at meron siyang reputasyon na talagang sumasakit sa mga issue at kung sino man yung nakikinabang doon sa kanya ginagawa, hindi natin alam yon. Very unreliable kasi ako nga, personal experience eh. Eh napatunayan naman na talagang puro fabrication yung inakusa sa akin. Sign of the times, ano? Kasi nakita naman natin kung ano yung nabubuo ngayon sa horizon pagdating sa politika. Well, na-remind muli yung jukebox, ano? Hindi na bago ito eh.
In a post on X, Lacson referred to Morales along with Antonio Luis Marquez, alias Ador Mawanay, and Mary Rosebud Ong as the jukebox gang who sang for money. He said they were used during the administration of former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo from 2001 to 2004 to smear his reputation and file fabricated cases against him. Now, as for politics, Lacson says he hasn't made up his mind whether to run or not next year. But he had some choice words for the country's political party system.
Walang kwenta talaga ang political party sa Pilipinas. Hindi na ako nadala. Nang sumalit sa LDP, wala na ako nakilala o tinamahan ng political party. Until yun nga, nung pinag-usapan ako ni Congressman Alvarez, pinabuhayin yung partido reforma ni dating Secretary De Villa, no? De Villa. Eh ako, bilib naman ako dyan De Villa. Mataas yung pagtingin ko sa kanya. So sabi ko, sige. Pero ngayon, kung sakali man na pagtikin yung ulo ko na tumakbo, di independent na lang.
Well, since he brought up political parties, let's talk about the party to beat next year, Partido Federal ng Pilipinas. We have with us live via Zoom, PFP President, South Cotabato Governor Reynaldo Tamayo Jr. Good evening, Governor. Thanks for making time for us tonight.
Magandang gabi naman, Sean, Regina, and Riza sa ating mga tagapanood. Isang napakagandang gabi sa ating lahat.
Governor, first things first, let me clarify. Are you still PFP President? Because as I understand, there's a leadership dispute within the party. Si Catanduanes Governor Leandro Verceles Jr. is also claiming the presidency. Has this been resolved?
Yeah, opo naman. Actually, nag-file sila ng complaint sa COMELEC at sinagot naman natin. At alam mo naman, si former Governor Verceles, tumakbo yan na Vice President under independent noong 2022. So automatically, tanggal na yan sa partido. Pero yun nga, hihintayin natin yung decision ng COMELEC. Pero so far sa tingin ko wala naman naging problem.
So you're waiting for the COMELEC's decision right now. So paano yun? So who does the party officially recognize as president?
Diyan naniniwala kami na legit at panggugulo lang yun sa kanila. Kaya lang, kailangan talaga sagutin yung complaint nila sa COMELEC. At sinagot naman namin kasi yung basis naman nila ay hindi naman yung andun talaga na naisubmit na natin sa COMELEC. Pero naghihintay pa rin tayo ng decision ng COMELEC na talagang invalido yung mga parata nila sa atin.
Okay, so as far as you're concerned, ikaw pa rin po yung president ng PFP as of the moment?
Yeah, po naman.
Okay.
Yun din po ang nakalagay no sa internet. If I'm just looking at Wikipedia right now, ang nakalagay ang presidente Reynaldo Tamayo Jr. Ito nang tanong no, Governor, ano po ang plano ng PFP? Kasi next year na alam naman natin ang midterm elections. We've already seen some early alliances forming and coalitions. Saan po papunta ito?
Actually, right after ng election, ay tuloy-tuloy yung expansion natin sa isang structure ng partido. Hinati natin ito sa dalawang structure. Ito yung grassroots build-up at umabot na tayo na nasa 60% after 1 year after election. At ito na yung panahon na nagkakaroon na tayo ng expansion sa electoral structure. Andito naman yung mga politiko. At tuloy-tuloy, walang tigil hanggang nagpaparami kami. At yun nga, meron tayong unit team before nung sa 2022 election na naging successful naman yung laban na kung saan meron tayong alliance sa isang cause na suportahan ng ang tumatakbong presidente natin na si President Bongbong Marcos at ang ating Vice President naman Sara Duterte. At ito naman yung panahon na nagkakaroon ng renewal of ties. No? Hindi ito simula, kundi patuloy na pinapakita at nagsisimbolo na patuloy pa rin nagkakaisa ang mga membro ng unit team sa adikain na susuportahan ang administrasyon ni President Bongbong Marcos. At pinag-uusapan na rin namin ang paparating na midterm election.
Governor, speaking of paparating na midterm elections, can you share with us kung meron na po ba kayong senatorial candidates in mind?
Sa ngayon wala pa. Bumubuo tayo ng steering committee base doon sa mga political parties na nakasama natin sa alliance. Yung steering committee ang magdidesisyon kung sino yung i-accept natin na mga senatorial candidates na dadalhin ng alliance na ito. At natitiyak natin na hopefully by August or before ng mga General Assembly na gagawin ng mga political parties ay makakabuo na tayo ng isang team para sa 2025 senatorial candidates.
Ano naman po, no, Gov, ang magiging posisyon ng PFP? Kasi ang history nito, noong 2018, binuo ito ng mga supporters ni dating Pangulong Duterte para po doon sa federalism push. Are you going to be keeping that? Are you still going to be pushing for federalism? Gawa ng yung pangalan ninyo ay Partido Federal ng Pilipinas nga po.
Opo naman. Ito yung ultimate goal ng partido to have a federal form of government ang bansang Pilipinas. Pero meron kami na-iset na timeline, meron rin kaming roadmap na sinusunod na sana matutupad ito before 2034. Yung target natin is since 2018 ay 2034 pa naman. At yun nga, kung mapapansin niyo, it's beyond the term of our president. Pero tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung adikain namin at nangarap pa rin kami na hoping na sana maabot natin yung pagbago ng sistema ng gobyerno into a federal form of government.
At ang next question dyan, Governor, paano po? Kung tatanungin po ang partido, via what method ang push for federalism? Para lang malinaw tayo.
Yep. Kailangan talaga na meron tayong numero sa House. At yung numero natin sa House, sila yung magpupush ng federal form of government. At ito'y dapat suportado ng Senado. At kailangan rin, majority rin sa Senado magpupush nito. At talagang maniniwala sa labang ito. Kung kaya tayo pipili talaga ng mga senatorial balls na sa tingin natin ay magiging katuwang natin sa ipinaglalaban nating federalismo. At susubukan natin by 2025 at dadagdagan ito by 2028. At kung sa tingin talaga natin na malabo, siguro ito na yung panahon na kailangan na natin yung people's initiative talagang to change our constitution into a federal form of government.
Governor,
kung mapapansin niyo, yung target natin sa timeline at yung roadmap na naiset ay 2034 dahil kailangan talaga namin na magparami ng mga kasangga sa Kongreso at sa Senado at kung hindi talaga makakayanan, ay ipupush na namin.
Sorry, what does your roadmap say? By 2024, dapat may People's Initiative na?
Na 2034 po.
2030, okay.
Kasi susubukan natin dumaan sa tamang proseso at tuloy-tuloy naman yung organizing meron tayo. At kung sa tingin natin na hindi talaga madadaan ito sa Kongreso at Senado, dito na tayo sa People's Initiative. Pero yung target naman, nandoon sa roadmap na naiset ng political party ay nasa 2034 pa. Magdedepende ito sa takbo ng organizing meron tayo.
A few weeks ago, PFP signed an alliance with Lakas CMD Lakas, of course, is the largest party in the lower house at the moment. As you pointed out, noong 2022, Lakas CMD, PFP were part of the unity team kasama ang PMP and HNP, Hukbong ng Pagbabago, which as we know is Vice President Sara's political party. How come her party wasn't included in this alliance?
Ganito kasi yan, ang una, nag-uusap yung mga leaders ng political party at kinukonsidera natin lahat ng mga political parties na talagang kasangga natin noong 2022 election. At isa pa rin sa tinitingnan natin na baka sasama naman yung Hukbong or baka sasama naman yung ibang mga political parties. Nauna lang natin nabuo yung alliance between PFP at ang Lakas. At tinitingnan rin natin yung possible alliance ng PFP and other political parties. Ito ay pinag-aaralan, pinag-uusapan kung saang aspeto pwede na magkaisa na kung saan, kung mapapansin ninyo, we have different ideology and principles pero merong common cause na ito naman ang bumubuo ng alliance meron tayo. At nauna na nga na nagkaroon ng alliance ang PFP at ang Lakas, sunod-sunod na ito. Na may mga ibang political parties na rin na sasama sa alliance na ito. Ang kailangan lang talaga mapag-usapan yung paano natin i-handle yung mga kandidato, especially sa local government na meron, yung mga different political parties. Kaya kailangan bumuo ng steering committee hanggang saan pwede magkasundo at hanggang saan pwede na magkakaroon ng free zone. Talagang pinag-uusapan na may dyan para matiyak natin na wala talagang sagabal at magiging problema pagdating ng panahon na nagkaroon na talaga ng alliance between political parties.
Meaning you would still welcome HNP if they want to join the alliance?
Yeah, definitely. Dahil nga sabi natin mahal na Pangulo ay kahit pa paano susuportahan pa rin natin. Talagang buo talaga ang kanyang instruction na talagang suportahan ang ating mahal na Vice Presidente. Alaman, sabi nga ng ating mahal na Pangulo, napakaganda ng performance, bakit hindi susuportahan. At ang panawagan ng Pangulo ay talagang dapat buo ang suporta natin sa ating mahal na Vice Presidente.
Alright, Governor, maraming salamat for joining us tonight and for sharing your thoughts with us. Rest assured, tatawagan ka po namin ulit dahil papalapit na nga po ang eleksyon next year. Partido Federal ng Pilipinas President and South Cotabato Governor Reynaldo Jr. Maraming salamat po. Okay, and just before we run out of time, we have our big picture for tonight. And what we have is this debate photo of US President Joe Biden and Donald Trump from back in 2020. I did not know we were doing a Throwback Thursday. So if you're asking why this photo, well, the two are set to hold a debate again. Not once, but twice. The first debate will be in June and again in September after a rapid back and forth between their campaigns. CNN announced that it will be hosting a debate in Atlanta on June 27, while ABC announced a second one on September 10th. Biden had challenged Trump to 2 debates under his terms, bucking the format of the Bipartisan Commission on Presidential Debates. The agreement sets the stage for the earliest televised general election debate since the tradition started back in 1960. This also removes any debates during the home stretch of the campaign in October, when many people in many states are already voting.
It's a made-for-TV special. Just bring the popcorn.
So exciting,
right?
You know what's changed since 2020 though? They're both older.
So you were noticing, counting the white hair, well, Joe Biden.
But some things never change between the two of them. So,
hey, we can't speak too soon. We have to watch out for the first edition of the debates, which is on June 27 U.S. time. But for this Thursday night, that's it for the big story.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.